Before floods damaged the town of Rock Springs,
Pretty much everything, the whole downtown.
town board meetings used to be held at the Village Community
What
Center.
they last said to us.
Now they're held in the firehouse garage.
So the only two buildings that we'd be able to save would be the post office and the gas station. Everything else would be gone.
Months later, the topic that dominates every discussion is still the flood and the town's recovery.
We are making progress, but it's just slow.
The town board recently approved the creation of a committee to work with FEMA to come up with a long-range recovery plan. And everything's on the table, including moving the town.
We are looking at possibly relocating the downtown. It just depends upon what funding is available.
They wouldn't be the first town to do this. Soldier Grove looks a lot different than it did 40 years ago. In fact, it's in an entirely new spot.
We moved the whole town out of the flood zone.
Rod Olson and his pets spend most of their time retired on a farm. But for years, he owned a gas station in Soldiers Grove.
I didn't know whether I was right or wrong, but I popped up and said I'd build a gas station out there. For years, I was wondering if I'd done the right thing or not.
When Soldiers Grove flooded in '78, local and federal officials decided to move the town up the road. And Olson and his gas station moved along with it. By 1983, the $6 million relocation was complete.
We had another town. It was different. We didn't have the main street, and that ticked a lot of people off.
Steve George is Soldier Grove's village president now, though you can find him holding office hours of sorts in his bike shop.
Yep, it is. A nice little gathering place.
He was younger than Olson when the town moved, but he lived here at the time and helped his family clean up after floods throughout most of his childhood.
It was a normal routine, but then it got to be extreme, where everybody started getting tired of it.
People had the option to get help rebuilding or taking a buyout for their property. A lot of people took the buyout.
So it was kind of like a downsize of the town, for the community.
But George thinks despite the difficulty for the first few years, it's worth it now.
Well, the new town doesn't get flooded a bit now. Everything's moved over into the new town, and that's all good.
Especially given the flooding that happened this year. Now a park stands where downtown Soldiers Grove used to be, and it was a park hit especially hard by flooding this year. Even months later, chunks of asphalt like this remain as evidence for a flood that ripped up this basketball court.
And the new town is a little bit more out that way.
Olson can point to the town from his farm.
Just not much different, but...
Except, of course, when it comes to water.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why, more than 40 years later, he's at peace with the decision to move.
I think it was the right decision. I feel better about it now, making that decision.
But he's not sure about what advice to give someone in that situation now.
Oh, it can't be easy. And it's going to take all the money that you have saved. So I don't know, it's a problem.
George does.
It's worth it. Well worth moving to town.
Even though he's still overseeing the town's rebuilding.
In the long run, it's well worth it. Otherwise, the little towns are just going to die out.
They were addressing that. Surviving is on Rock Springs' mind.
We're just hoping that we can find some ways to make, the village alive again.
They've talked to other towns that have moved in the past. And while it's too soon to say for sure whether it will rebuild on higher ground, people who live there know the waters could come again.
It's actually very disappointing, and it's just unfortunate.
In Rock Springs, Jeff Dahdah, Spectrum News 1. Meet Officer Terry Evans.
Okay.
He's been following through with those scams that try to get people to give up money over the phone or email.
Okay, update. That's him.
He's posting real-time updates on his quest to his Twitter account.
So, he wanted, like I said, he took my receipt.
Evans is an officer with UW-Madison Police. He works at a residence hall full with international and young students, a population that gets targeted with these scams often.
And generally, they want them to pay you by gift cards, and that leads to a whole host of problems. But again, being sort of either naive or young and not understanding, or due to the cultural issues, they fall victim to that. So I'm gonna shoot my video now.
So he decided to try something different to get the word out about this.
Rather than sort of telling them how this process works, I figure why not show them how the process works.
He's posting the journey on Twitter. So you may ask yourself, why Twitter? Evans says it's about getting to more people.
Me sort of standing on a platform, here shouting to the rafters, I can only reach, this many people.
When he goes to social media, other people can share his message on their platform.
They could help sort of spread the message for me, which I think has worked out really, really well.
In each like, retweet, and comment his posts get could prevent
University Apartments. There's my guy again.
This guy from scamming someone in the future.
I'm really focusing on the prevention here. If we can sort of prevent this from happening, That's really my goal.
So if you follow along and even share along with his posts, maybe you'd prevent someone you know from getting scammed. In Madison, Jeff Dahdah, Spectrum News 1.
As it goes layer by layer, it just kind of keeps adding.
High school junior Adele Griffin has become something of an expert on Baraboo High School's new 3D printers. The school got them this past fall,
It's been really easy to pick up.
and the skilled printer picked up a project.
And at first I was really excited that I got to use it, but then I realized that I can use them to help other students.
The Department of Public Instruction's program for the deaf and the blind asked for Adele and her teachers' help with these.
So each one's different, different shapes, different colors.
They may look like pieces to a board game, but they're not. They're tools to help students who are deaf and blind communicate in school. There are textured sides.
A big image, so for this one it's an X for not, otherwise an arrow for go.
There's also the word both in letters and in Braille.
Then they can use the X and the Braille to kind of reaffirm what that word is. And it's cool to think that like someone in Appleton is holding something that I actually worked on and like put my effort into.
They've sent about 60 of these out and around the state so far. And they're making more to help students communicate things as simple as needing to use the restroom.
When they need to go, they can hand the little piece that says go, and they need to go to the bathroom, and just some of the basic things we take for granted. I think for me as a parent, it's like, man, that's impactful.
Adele's teacher, Eric Hanusa, says using the skills they get in class for something like this is a good learning experience.
It gives those bonds and those relationships for our students to be able to grow and to function, see what they're doing can make a difference.
It was a quick snap. Like it was very easy to take what I've learned and use it towards helping people.
Easy. Sure. The pieces are an idea from researchers at the University of North Carolina, and this Baraboo Junior printed them in class for students across the state, and it was easy
Still cool.
and cool.
It's very nice for them to work with their aides and other students even to just kind of get to know the English language at a very small scale.
In Baraboo, Jeff Dahdah, Spectrum News 1. People here in Barron are very excited to bring Jamie home today. A lot of people got up early in the morning to change signs like this one here to welcome Jamie home. A change from a lot of the signs that were lining the streets here were messages of praying for Jamie and holding out hope for Jamie. Well, today, those prayers were answered.
I think here in town we called the people to pray, and if nothing else, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people prayed and turned their focus upward, and God gave a yes answer. That's tremendous.
Here at the First Baptist Church in Barron, prayers have been going out for the past 3 months, all in hope that Jamie Kloss would be found safe.
Well, the reaction was obviously surprise, I have to be honest, but it was also excited and pleased and happy.
And Pastor Floyd Lund was so excited, he got up early to change his sign outside the church Friday morning.
So I thought, well, maybe she'll see it and just let her know that people are glad she's here.
And he isn't alone. Signs all across town have changed, from calling for hope and prayers to a welcome message, including at City Hall.
Seeing it change that way, I would say it's another one of those things that kind of makes my mind feel like it's going whoosh. You know, I can't hardly take this all in.
Ron Flatten is the town's mayor. He, like a lot of people in town, are still processing the news that Jamie has been found.
Well, it's starting to sink in. It's still almost, you almost feel like it's too good to be true, but you're certainly thankful that it is.
He tells me it's like there's been a black cloud over Barron, and today the sun is shining.
It's fantastic to know that our miracle has occurred. She came back alive.
The town and the people here and the people in this region really pulled together.
Back at First Baptist Church, Pastor Lund said it wasn't always easy to keep positive.
Probably the last month or two, it's been more hope than expectation. And so now the realization of that hope in a positive way has been tremendous.
Now that Jamie is back, the healing process can begin.
It'll take time.